Tyranny of Dragons is out in one book. These two previous books, Horde of the Dragon Queen, Rise of Tiamat, I actually run these first, despite not having the best reviews. And we had such a memorable time playing Tyranny of Dragons. I learnt how to DM by just running it. And so I would like to walk you through DMing the game. So it's not for players, it's just for us DMs, and hopefully I can give something back from my experience running this adventure. So on the back of my book, it says, for Horde of the Dragon Queen, in an audacious bid for power, the Cult of the Dragon, along with its dragon allies and the Red Wizards of Thair, seek to free Tiamat from her prison in the Nine Hells to bring her to the Forgotten Realms. So basically, your players are up against what is usually an underground cult who worship dragons, Tiamat being the queen of those dragons. They are rising up, gathering wealth, because dragons love wealth, to create a massive horde and then do a ritual to break her prison in the Nine Hells so that she can enter this world, lay waste to it, and then start again with all her followers as the rulers. So total world domination. And the little players start off level 1 and they're thrown straight into the adventure. So let's take a look at chapter 1. So the first episode is called Greenest in Flames. Greenest is just some random little town / city, and you introduce your players to it as a battle rages, and even a blue dragon, which they are no match for, circles the main castle. So this is what you read them. For the past several days you have been travelling a road that winds lazily across the rolling grasslands of the green fields. Sundown is approaching when you top a rise and see the town of Greenest just a few miles away. But instead of the pleasant, welcoming town you expected, you see columns of black smoke rising from the burning buildings, running figures that are little more than dots at this distance, and a dark winged shape wheeling low over the keep that rises above the centre of the town. Greenest is being attacked by a dragon. Now it does come with a map, and I remember thinking, well, just have my players come along here. This is a huge mound with a castle on top. It's not that important, and you can just describe it theatre of the mind, or you can lay out just any old buildings anywhere on your map and have them push forward to this obvious centre of the maelstrom. Well, this is set at night. There's half moon with some dim light. Some buildings are set on fire to light up the night sky. There's also a stream that flows through the city, so the players could meander through there if they wished, because it goes right near the castle. So imagine this. You're going to be working your way through a town, fighting off the cultists, whatever you use as cultists, either as figures or theatre of the mind anyway. You have your band of heroes. I tell mine by these little coloured rings I have on the bottom, blue tack, but do what you want. So they go through a town and then eventually come upon the castle. It's up to you whether you have, villagers milling around or whether that's too complicated. Because all you really want to do is fight the bad guys. But if you describe that these guys are ransacking buildings and stealing all the valuables, kicking down doors and robbing places, then you've got the right idea. Working their way up to the castle. At the castle, I remember there's a ginger-bearded dwarf. It's Castellan Escobar the Red. He's a shield dwarf with knotted, tangled, bright red hair, and master of the keep. He's in charge of the defences, that's why I put him on top of the castle. Save the keep should be their first mission. It begins when a terrified human family dash across their paths, hounded by 8 kobolds. Without warning, 5 humans dash out from between 2 buildings on your left. A limping man and 3 young children race across the street into more shadows. A woman carrying a round shield and a broken spear turns and faces back in the direction from which they came. 8 kobolds stream out of the alley and onto the family's heels, and fan out around the woman, who looks determined to delay the creatures for as long as possible. So it's basically smash up some kobolds, push on. There's a list of random encounters you could hit along the way, but they do have the opportunity to sneak past, or even try and deceive the cultists by saying they're also cultists. As they push towards the keep, hopefully they will gather some townsfolk, NPCs, just to be like the reward for how well they've done, and they gather this crowd and they usher them, and then they get to the castle and they're the last through the gates, the walls come down, the doors, gates lock. There's Governor Nighthill, a human male. The right side of his face and head are bandaged. His right arm is in a sling, so he's not going to be able to help. There's that ginger beard bloke, Castellan Escobar the Red. He's a shield dwarf with knotted, tangled, bright red hair. He's in charge of defences. He has the keys to all the areas in the castle. There's a tunnel called the Old Tunnel underneath the castle from the cellar, which leads out to a grate, like a sewer grate, an upright sewer grate, which they can go through and basically go do missions around Greenest, save some human townsfolk, get them back in there, because the front gates are all surrounded by cultists. It talks about that not ever being used, so it's filled with crates and boxes, the door's even rusty locked. It says there's swarms of rats in the tunnel to fight. If you're noisy breaking the lock open, you alert some cultists outside for an encounter. Once they get silenced, they can still use that exit, and they need to use that exit to get in and out secretly. But on the battlements there's a adult blue dragon breath weaponing the city guard on the roof, the NPCs. So you're basically just demonstrating the power of a dragon and how small the players are by it comes down, swoops and lightnings loads of NPCs, and you're hoping that the players might get a bit of a pot shot, arrow, blast or spells at this dragon, but it just circles and comes and swoops in again, and they have to duck, and just a bit of a frightening thing, and then the dragon leaves anyway because you can't put your players up against that for real. There's a mission called the Sallyport. Never been exactly sure what a Sallyport is, but Escobar is most concerned about resealing the Sallyport, and he seeks out the characters. So come on, we need to seal this Sallyport. We don't know what it is, but the first fight occurs against one acolyte, 4 kobolds and 1 ambush drake. The door is heavily damaged, needs fixing. But then as they're doing it, cultists from the castle end come from behind and are trying to get back out into the city, so they're attacked from 2 points really. Try not to have your very weak players die at this point. If anyone does drop, you can have townsfolk carry them, bring them in, stabilise them, give them water, just make it exciting really. There's another mission called Prisoners, and Governor Nighthill would like to interrogate some of the raiders. I'd give anything to know what we're up against and why. For that we need prisoners, a commander, even a low ranking one is best. So the players have got to go out and nab somebody who will give them information. Frulam Mondath is in her purple robes, accompanied by 12 guards. She is kind of in charge of this attack. So you only catch a glimpse of this purple wearer because she's, again, the lead threat here. Now the dragon's gone. But you want them to be aware that that's what the leaders look like. When you get some prisoners, and you bring them back, or one prisoner, whatever. Captured kobolds are terrified. They say whatever they think the questioner wants to hear. They know that they're working for the Cult of the Dragon, and not for the Dragon Lady, who is actually called Resmia. We'll get to that. And that they just after loot. Captured mercenaries or bandits talk freely. They have no special loyalty to the Cult of the Dragon. They reveal they've been raiding communities around the Greenfields for loot, and they've heard rumours in the camp about dragon eggs. They're all from a camp nearby, a few miles away. Cultists and initiates are the most tight-lipped. A successful intimidation of DC 10 or 12 charisma check is needed to cause the cultists to reveal that they are members of the Cult of the Dragon and that they are collecting loot for the Great Horde that will usher in the reign of the Queen of Dragons, Tiana. They know that the cult has a clutch of dragon eggs under heavy guard in a cave at their camp, which is the next place they go. Chapter 2. You can do these in any order, but Save the Mill is another mission. Governor Nighthill comes over and says, the guards have spotted a new threat. Raiders are trying to set fire to the town's mill. If it burns, we'll lose our stockpile of flour. We won't be able to grind for months. I'm trying to assemble enough defenders from here in the keep to defend it through the rest of the night, but that will take time. You'd do us a great service if you could get to the mill quickly and drive away the raiders before they can set it aflame. You'll need to defend it until our forces arrives to take it over, but it shouldn't be more than 15 minutes behind you. So again, you can put an encounter on the way if you want. The players can work out that it's just been a ruse. They're kind of pretending to set it on fire more than they are setting it on fire, so that they lure these heroes out. Frulam Mondath, the Purple Wearer, has been informed that the heroes are aiding the town, and she wants to lure them into an ambush. More raiders are actually inside the barn, pretending to be victims. So when the heroes come into the barn, there's like a balcony upstairs, and they just get spears thrown at them. After a bit of a battle, you can interrupt it whenever, the guards from the castle come in and the heroes are able to take some townsfolk back to the secret entrance, the old tunnel, and back in. Sanctuary. Dozens of townsfolk are barricaded into the temple. The temple is being battering rammed from the outside. It says here, there's 3 groups outside this temple. Group A is battering at the front doors. B is circling the temple in a screeching mob. And the third is heaping burning straw against the back door. The hero's best shot at rescuing the townsfolk is to overpower Group C at the back. In the temple, they can arrange a distraction to keep Groups A and B occupied at the front while you slip out the back. So yeah, try and create a little bit of a against the clock thing. The doors are splintering as these battering rams come in. Unless you're not doing that and everyone's just killing everybody. You know what players are like. So once they've done these few missions or whatever you describe them doing, being heroes, announcing themselves, we are going to help you out, we're really good guys. Then they get to the safety of the castle. They've hopefully gained some information about the campaign and who these cultists are from the prisoner section. And then there's the final segment of chapter 1. It's called Half Dragon Champion. From the darkness, a creature strides into the dim light of the dying fires around the keep. Although it is shaped roughly like a human, it is at least 7 feet tall. Its skin is covered in blue scales, its fingers bear wicked claws, and its face has the muzzle and reptilian eyes of a dragon. The creature stops about 80 yards from the main gate of the keep and scans the walls. A line of kobolds fans out behind it. With their spears, they prod 4 human prisoners into the dim light. You can make out a woman, a teenage boy in a blue-soaked tunic, and 2 children. Then the half-dragon creature hails the keep. Defenders of Greenest, this has been a successful night, and I am feeling generous. Do you see these 4 pitiful, useless prisoners? We have no need for them, so I will trade them back to you. Send out your best warrior to fight me, and you can have these 4 in exchange. This is a half-blue dragon called Cyanrath, and you have your players then to decide who is the strongest fighter. And so there is a guy who is like eager to get out because he recognises it's his family. You know, oh my god, they're my family. And he's like wanting to go, but then Governor Nighthill will approach the heroes. My friends, you have demonstrated your prowess all through this frightful night. I realise this is an awful burden to ask you to bear, but any of you has a better chance to defeat the horror than my militia have. If no one wants to fight Cyanrath, Nighthill is disappointed but understands. And you can have this guard go out and just describe the fight. So basically, if a player goes out, if you kill Cyanrath, well done, but it's unlikely that they do. However, he won't kill them. He'll get them low hit points or knock them out and just let them live. It's a show of power. It's also setting up a later showdown. You want a player to be humiliated, you know, they're coming to like rub their toe on your head as it lies in the gravel, and then you've got that like vengeance seeded. As the book suggests, at the end of level 1, I would level them up to level 2. Now they've finished chapter 1, and I would do that after every chapter that it says get them up a level. If you really want to plough through experience points, it has all those rewards that you have to keep note of, following the XP charts and the player's handbook. I'm assuming that this is a new time for you DMing. So hopefully now if you read the chapter, or you've already read the chapter, you'll have a little bit more understanding of the very simplicity of it.